I'm David Cassee, president of Three Dream Studios in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today, I'm excited to share a success story of a church out in Tucson, Arizona. And the gentleman I'm bringing in here, his name is Roger Blumenthal. He's the executive pastor of Pantano Church, or Pantano Christian Church. And we've got a little bit of a history with them, and they've had some great things happen out there. So I'm going to bring him on here and just see what he has to say about what's going on in Tucson. What's happening, Roger?
How are you, David? Glad to be here.
Doing well. So I hear it's monsoon season out there. You getting a lot of rain?
We've had more rain this summer than I think we've had in the last 10 years. It's been wonderful.
That's a good thing. Well, I love coming out there. I was going to show people a quick piece here of kind of what happens at your church. You guys got some cool things going on with some solar panels, which there's a little bit of a story behind that I thought I might ask you to share. Tell me real quick about those solar panels, because it's not everywhere that people have solar, but it's a really good thing for your church. You want to share that real quick?
Yeah, well, with 300 days of sunshine a year, it makes sense in Tucson that you use and capitalize on that opportunity with solar. We had an opportunity 10 years ago. It'll be 10 years ago this February. We will pay them off the lease that we have on them, and they will be completely ours. But 10 years ago, we were approached by someone. We went out to bid. We ended up with this wonderful project that pays for about 85 to 90% of our electricity and saves us literally $80,000 a year.
That is fantastic. And being an executive pastor, I mean, that's your job, right? Seize the opportunities on the business side of running the church.
Absolutely. How can we save kingdom money and put it toward kingdom resources and put them toward the kingdom as opposed to paying for electricity?
Absolutely. So I want to say about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2018-ish, somewhere in that time frame, we got connected, and I'm curious to know if you would tell the story about how that happened.
Absolutely. So we were in the process of investigating a sprung structure for us to be our new student union. Our students had outgrown their building and we needed some more space. So we started that investigation. I started traveling around the West here a little bit to visit 2 or 3 different churches, Colorado, Arizona, up in Phoenix. And then I was also in Central California and ran into a church there. Sprung sent me, and I went and took a look. And as I'm walking through their office, I noticed all of these pictures of a completed building that were hanging on their wall in their office. And then I looked outside. I thought, oh, wow, it's all done. I looked outside, and the building was not finished. And then I came back in, and I said, you guys have all these pictures, but the building's not done. Where did these pictures come from? And it was at that point their executive pastor shared with me your contact and your information, and strongly recommended that I contract Three Dream Studios to help us with our project. And that's exactly what we did.
That's a cool thing. I remembered some about that building you're discussing about on that project. That was a really cool presentation, because the sprung buildings aren't typically thought of as something that you could really dress out and do some nice things with on the interiors. We really were able to do some cool stuff, and I know you guys did that as well, and it worked out really nice. So I'm curious to know, before we engaged together to do some 3D animation or renderings and things, what were some of the challenges that you were thinking about or considering before you hired us?
Well, some of the issues that we had to decide on was what's the speed of construction, the cost of construction, the style of construction. Like you said, a sprung structure is unique, and what you can do in it is amazing, but it's still unique, and it looks more like a tent. And many people, call it the circus tent or whatever. We try to stay away from that because it's such an incredibly vital building to our ministry. So to make sure we sold that well, we wanted to have people really envision it. I didn't want to say, oh, think of a tent, and that's what we're going to build. And it's like, a tent? Why would we build a tent? So we wanted to be able to help them visualize it and picture it. as we'd done the research, and then be able to show them not only the outside, but the inside as well.
I got this video pulled up here, and I wanted to see if I could kind of find some of this animation. Tell us what you're looking at there.
So that right there is your animation of what our building ended up looking like, almost perfectly. There are some subtle differences, but you took our plans, you were able to put it in place. When this was done, there were 2 portable buildings sitting on that site. And so you were able to come in and take a look at it, take the plans, and make it come alive. So it was no longer one-dimensional on paper. It became 3-dimensional, and people could see it and almost be in the space, which was just so key to what we were doing, and hoping that people could understand the vision of what we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I was excited. As you know, and a few months ago, I was out in Tucson working on another project, and I just stopped in just to say hello, and I got to view this, and I was really amazed how similar it was to what we actually presented for your people.
Yes.
That was an exciting time. So even this youth space, I mean, it's so cool. Just the color, the lighting, and the space they get to hang out in and connect. It was a great time.
Yeah, even the pool table, ping pong table. I'm looking at the video right now going, yep, that's almost exactly what we did.
That is so cool. I think you guys were pretty successful with the campaign.
We have to date, and we didn't outsource anything. We did it all ourselves, started our own little campaign here. We've funded over 1/3 of it. We've been able to pay for just by what we did in-house, and mainly the video, and just putting that out and helping people see it. And that, we started the project in 2018. We opened August, 8 months later from the time we started, the time we opened the building. 8 months later was August of 2019. And of course, March of 2020, we ended up closing due to COVID. So we were only open a very short time. And so we were all missing that. So even in the midst of that, losing momentum because everybody's looking at a pandemic instead, we're still over a third of the way there.
Well, that sounds like it was successful in rallying the troops. They're staying the course and keeping moving that thing forward. So that's awesome. Listen, another thing I wanted to talk about is we embarked on another project, not near the same scope, but you guys are renovating your auditorium.
Yes,
so tell me about that.
So again, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and we came right back to you as we knew we wanted people to see it. We're not just updating with furnishings and carpet, but we're actually making some modifications to the floor and to the building itself. And so in order to capture that better, we knew pictures were going to be necessary. And so my first call was to you and to say, hey, come help us out with this so we can get the photos and the pictures and the video so that people can see what's going to happen. And it's been amazing to listen to the auditory response to people when we show it in services and they're able to go and take a look at it. It's amazing what's happened.
I was just looking at your website here. It looks like you guys still have this on your website as part of your promotional pieces and things. The auditorium and lobby remodel project. This is cool. Kind of a little intro, how it's going to affect everybody. And I guess you click learn more and it takes you to another section that talks more about the update.
And there's the video right there.
Yeah, I'm going to show that here in just a minute. It's not very long.
Yeah,
and then you guys are taking out pews, right? Is that one of the biggest parts?
We are removing the pews and putting in seating. It'll be bolted to the ground and the rows. They're great. They have armrests that go up and down. They have cup holders in them. So they're quite versatile, be quite comfortable.
I think a big part of any campaign is just having good communication. Again, the visual is a big part of it. You're communicating on your website details about the project. What are some of the common questions? You guys just did a fantastic job here of clearly communicating everything about the project. They can email and ask questions. That's super stuff. So before we move forward here any further, I just can't wait. And I know it's not a very long video, but I wanted to play it so everybody can kind of see and experience what we're talking about here. So let's give that thing a shot.
All right.
Awesome. Listen, I thought it was interesting. You guys are doing a part of your campaign is to reserve a pew. You want people to be able to enjoy using these pews for something. So would this be a good place to make a public announcement if they're looking for a pew?
Yeah. If you want some, we've got some, but we've got 20 of them so far have been reserved by people here at church who want one for their backyard, their house. It's like, okay, if you'd like one, come get it.
All right. Well, is there anything that I haven't asked you about that maybe you're thinking about that you want to say?
I would say, again, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And what you didn't see there is what our auditorium looks like now. And when we had, our auditorium full, and we put up the pictures of what it's gonna look like. Here's the people who come here every week and they see what it's gonna look like. It's their response, their emotional response of just, this is gonna be incredible. But being able to see it as opposed to saying, yeah, look at the carpet, we need to replace it. Yeah, we're gonna put in different chairs. Well, then they just ask 100 questions. What kind of chairs? What kind of carpet? What's it gonna look like? But when you show them, all the questions start going away. And they're going, okay, when do we start? And we're starting in a couple of weeks. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome. I've seen over the years, it's just a great thing when you can show people what's happening. And it's one thing for the leadership to go, man, how are we going to do this? We need to rally everybody and get the troops together. And you feel like you're kind of pulling it along at first, but you really want it to take on a momentum that kind of pushes you along. And I think that's what this does. When people have more information, they can see it, understand it, they can kind of attach to it and say, yeah, this is no longer just the leadership's vision for the church. This is my church, and this is what we are going to do. Yeah. And it just takes on a whole different level of momentum to get it done. And I think that's what's happened on your two projects. I'm excited to see, as you guys finish this up, what it's going to look like.
Oh, I can't wait. I tell you, for 18 years, I've been at this church, and the first day I walked in, I went, what did they do in this room? It's just a terrible floor, and we get to fix it all. I've been dreaming about this day for 18 years, and finally we're at a place to do it.
Well, I know it's a big thing for you guys, but generally speaking, your facilities are incredible. I really enjoyed it when I came out and visited you and got to meet all your people a few years ago. And exciting to see that you're continuing to move forward. You've got a great community. I love Mountain Lemon, just north of the city there. It's a great place to go visit. But really overall, I just appreciate the level of business we've done together. And we feel connected to you and what you're doing. So appreciate you taking the time today. And I look forward to talking to you more real soon.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you for your vision. The day of the 3D models in the lobby are long gone, and being able to put the video renderings, the digital renderings online and have them accessible for everybody it's an amazing gift to the kingdom and to God's church. So we appreciate what you're doing.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon, Roger.
All right. God bless.
All right. Have a good one.